think it's recording. We got some people in the waiting room.
Office Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, or you're like the typical 40-hour, if you work 40-hour. But then now a lot of people have that hybrid where it's like they do half in the office and half online, or like a couple days online and then goes in the office. And Mike is on that thing.
Yeah, I think there's a button for it, so it should be just this thing collects our video and audio.
Like part-time, like full-time in a sense before COVID hit, so now it's kind of getting to that,
I have two other people who said they were coming.
then that's
I don't know if they're trying to be in person or not. I haven't heard from them, so they don't have the Zoom link if they're trying to be remote.
I got my job and I'm super different. And it's like a little bit easier just to stand here.
For sure. Yeah, and it'll be good to have the recording just for anyone who couldn't make it today and get them the info.
My next position at NSU was
I don't know if anyone on Zoom talks, if you really hear them. I don't know if it'll come out of the speakers or not.
so what's your major?
But okay, that should be good to go. Okay, good. Okay. So here.
And it's like, would you want to go outside the country?
Can one of my Zoom folks just unmute and talk for me, just so I can make sure that I can hear you all?
Go to college.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yay, it works. Thank you. So it's like we're testing this out. We're gonna see how it works. Let me move. I wonder, I think I can probably move this guy. This one move. Okay. Okay, that makes that easy. And Gwen, do you know how to move this guy?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's easier just to be closer to the computer.
So
Yeah, there we go.
there. Okay. Yeah, as long as it's recording for screen share, then that should be fine.
Yeah,
So-
well, and I want like audio to actually like be semi-decent too. Okay, sweet. Hello, folks. So Victoria Poroto, how do you pronounce your name for me, please? I'm gonna butcher it.
Prodeo.
Rodeo, thank you. I was like, uh-oh. And then Jimmy, thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, y'all. We are here from Transfer Services. I don't know if you want to come up, Hannah, and we can just go through. We'll see how this works with in-person things. We are your transfer team. So my name is Brittany. My name is Hannah. And we'll be kind of walking you through what it looks like to transfer out of ACC and just considerations as you move forward. So that will be a lot of our day to day. So as we move through, so today we'll be covering just different transfer programs and just options that you have to transfer in and out of state. As you're looking at transfer student requirements, just the application process, what to consider as you're applying to different universities. And yes, you can apply to multiple, keep your options open, how to actually transfer your credits, and then tools to help you while you're at ACC, but also as you move forward to that 4-year, and then just timelines, because a lot of it is, you think that it's like later than it actually is. You want to start super early. So those are some of the things that we'll talk about today. You just want to watch your name? Yeah, cool.
Good. So what is a transfer student? So what it is to be considered one is that you would need to be graduated from high school or have earned your GED, high set, or
It's like task.
but
Different ways to get a high school diploma.
exactly. And you need to complete more than 24 credit hours at the collegiate level after high school graduation. So some of you might have done concurrent enrollment through high school or done AP credits. Technically, if you were to get your associates at the same time with your high school diploma, then you would technically be transferring to your 4-year as a first year. But that's what is considered to be a transfer student, is 24 credit hours after graduation from high school.
sorry, I'm clicking on things. Also with the 24 credit hours, essentially what that means is you have enough college under your belt, which is basically 12 credit hours a semester. So you have like basically two semesters where they can really consider your college instead of just the high school. Because the perk of, right? Because sometimes with high school, it's like, I don't know what the purpose of this is, and I'm just going to try and pass and do my best. Sometimes we don't do the best in high school, where this gives you a chance to take like college classes, get that GPA up, and then they consider that as part of the application. So there's definitely many perks of being a transfer student. So with ACC, it can get confusing because there's a lot of program options that we have here. And part of that is because people have different goals, right? To get a career or transfer, or they're not sure yet. So we want to make sure that there are a lot of opportunities for you all here at UCC. So what this covers on this slide, so basically like the left-hand side is all of our,
Sorry, technical difficulties, 1 second.
So the left-hand side is essentially like your career focused options, and then the right-hand side will be more of those transfer focused options. So your key here is to make sure that you're at least enrolled in a transfer degree, just because that will help a lot. But so certificates are going to be very focused on that skill set that you're looking at. So this may be like computer aided drafting, computer information systems. It's a very specific skill set to go into that career that you're looking at. So it's very like skill-based classes that you'll have. These are less than the 60 credits, so it may not take as much time to complete. So it's kind of that like one and done and go out into the workforce. The Associate of Applied Science, this can get a little tricky because it's still an associate's degree. The main difference is the Associate of Science is built for that skill set and that specific career. So it's set, so then that way you get your courses done and then you go like into a business or an accounting role, or they have like architecture. So there's a lot of different areas where there is that career focus. The main difference of the structure is there's not as many general education classes, just because with those general education classes, you don't need as many to focus on kind of your skill set. And plus we don't want to have you waste some time on general eds when you may not need them, especially for going into a career. For the transfer items, so as we can see, the Associate of Science and Associate of Arts, the Associate of Arts is going to be just like a general umbrella term. This can include like business, philosophy, psychology, sociology. There's a lot of different like branches underneath Associate of Arts. This is your transfer degree along with Associate of Science. So the Associate of Arts is more liberal arts focused. You don't have as many math and science classes, and it gives you all of those general education options. These include guaranteed transfer within the state of Colorado. So you're pretty much safe within these degrees because these degrees are set up so then that way you can transfer very easily within state. The Associate of Science is very similar just because of those guaranteed transfer options, more general education classes, but this gives you more math and science-based classes. So this would be like chemistry, biology, if you want to do pre-medical areas, this would be, or even engineering. So it's just a different focus, but very similar structure in the degree. Because when you're completing your associate's degree, essentially you're completing your first 2 years of your bachelor's degree, which is great, kind of a 2-for-1. I just went straight into my bachelor's degree. So I missed out on an associate's degree just because I didn't realize that it's basically the same thing. So once you complete your your associate's degrees, whether it's the Associate of Arts or Associate of Science, you can go on and transfer those credits and have your first 2 years done at the university. And then that's where you'll have all of your like concrete classes that you're really looking to conquer, like social work or psychology. That would be like your area at the 4-year. And we do offer bachelor's degrees at ACC. There are quite a few now, but a lot of them will be like health related. There's also some like computer science, tech related degrees. These tend to be offered either through like the Littleton campus or through our STEM collaboration campus. They have an agreement with CSU Pueblo to help get some of those credits applied to the bachelor's degree. So really that right-hand side, you do want to make sure like in your degree check that you review your program type just to make sure that it has transfer in there or it's an Associate of Arts or an Associate of Science general.
So some kind of fun little facts about transferring. So about 40% of first-time freshmen starting community colleges, which honestly is considerably a lot if it's almost like half the population of incoming students coming straight from high school, or even coming from other parts of life, if they're coming back to start another degree path or another career path. So there's a lot of different variables with that. And about 70 to 80 of like the new community college students indicate that they want a bachelor's. So the majority of people who are coming to community college, their goal is to get that bachelor's degree. Now, as we were kind of explaining in the prior slide point, there are the certificates and the associate applied sciences for the students who want to go straight into the workforce or try to kind of get an additional certificate for their current career. But the majority of people who come to community college, their goal is to get that associate's and then to get that bachelor's degree. And students are more likely to earn a bachelor's if they earn an associate's first. And I think it's because it's that easier stepping stone to go from high school or wherever you're coming from to that associate's and then next to the bachelor's.
It's always ideal to try to earn that associate's degree. Sometimes depending on the program, you have to transfer early, but the associate's degree is key just because it will help with your resume. You can make more money in your lifetime, even if you just have that associate's degree. So it's even like a security blanket in a way. So if you're wondering, like, Hannah, Brittany, where do people go? Like, what are my options? One, you have a million and one different options. So that's why it's good to start exploring early. But this gives you a general gist of like the top 5 schools that are in state that students go to. So if you're like, I don't even know what's like out there. MSU Denver is downtown. They share a campus with CU Denver. That's probably like our closest four-year university. There's also CSU Fort Collins, CU Boulder, and then University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. So a lot of those state schools where it's like the CUs or the CSUs that folks tend to go to. But keep in mind, we like Colorado School of Mines is also super close. So there's lots of different options in state and out of state, but this just gives you a brief overview of kind of where ACC students are transferring.
And as we were talking about with the Associate of Applied Science, the Associate of Science and the Associate of Arts, there is what we call degrees with designation. So these are the types of degrees that are guaranteed to transfer to the four-year colleges that are offering these transfer agreements. And so normally with the transfer agreements that are created through either the state of Colorado or through the schools themselves, they have agreements with the community colleges or us specifically with ACC that will guarantee the credits that you are getting here at the community college level will transfer over into that bachelor's track. And there's over about 40 different major areas. And it depends on which community college you're at, because certain ones are going to be offered at specific colleges. Like ACC might offer some programs here that might not be offered at like Red Rocks or the Community College of Denver or any of the others CCCS systems. And the examples down below are kind of what the degrees with the designation are, like with business, art, communication, psychology, philosophy, and all the other options that you're wanting to look into if you're interested. There's a link down below on that one.
And we can get this sent out to you all just so then that way you have it for reference and to utilize some of the links that we have. So lots of different areas to look at. They are very general. If you're looking for something super specific within a university, we have ways to help assist with that. So one, you have those transfer degrees, right? That secures your capability of moving in state. There are different tools and resources that are available. Transfer is starting to be very friendly across the United States, so I'm very thankful to see that there's tools in place. When is this like full on screen share or is it just the PowerPoint? Okay, cool. I love it. So with some of the tools that you have available, and let me know if you all can't see this at a certain point. Let's see. Looks like we're sharing. Okay, never mind. I think I figured it out. So with your journey at ECC and whether it's in or out of state, please utilize our transfer services website. I know that sounds really odd of like, why would I go to like a random page on ECC? We try to give you all of the information just in one spot. And plus you can get like easy access to contact us, whatever you may need. So just general kind of things to transfer out of ACC. What is helpful, and this is probably my favorite page that I even use a ton, is just our different transfer agreements or the guides for the specific school within Colorado. So this is where you can also find all of those statewide transfer degree options. So there's like all of the different pathways in here. So this just as an example. So these are all of the transfer agreements within the state of Colorado. What's nice is you're like, I don't even know like where this would be offered. You can click in this kind of in your degree area. And what it will show is like all of the different schools that participate in the transfer agreement and then the schools that you can transfer to. So if you need additional exploration, you can go in here and see the different school options. So I could go to Metro, CU Boulder, CU Denver, UNC. So it gives me a little bit of an idea on like where to research if I'm wanting to stay in state. There's also like system-wide agreements. Those we don't use a ton, but just in case if you want to peruse around. The institutional guides, these are specific to that university. So if you are looking at Metro for social work or CSU for equine science, they have their own guides within their university to help just in case if it is very specific to that school, because that will happen too, where you're like, I'm looking for something very particular and they don't have like a statewide agreement for. So for example, we'll go to Metros and they list out all of their different majors that are not a part of that statewide. The statewides are very like common majors across Colorado, where Metro has very specific majors that are just within their school, like brewery operations or exercise science, fire and emergency response. So there's a lot of different majors that you can go into for these universities. So let's say I am interested in brewery operations. That kind of sounds like a fun job. What it will do is it will pull up a guide for you to follow with the classes that you're supposed to take here at ACC. It will tell you like if there are specific classes that you need to take, or if it is just like one of the guaranteed transfer classes that are part of a degree. So it will outline all of those things just in case if you want something more particular. So a lot of schools will have these different guides. So for example, even Boulder's looks pretty decent. I like theirs, but you can see like the different majors. So if I wanted to do planetary sciences, I can click in here and get like my plan for ACC. So that's definitely one of those tools that might be helpful, especially if you are looking at particular schools for a certain major. Also, we are encyclopedias of a lot of things, but there are some questions that we may not be able to answer and may be specific to that school. So we have university connections. So there's a lot of transfer admission counselors in and out of state that help ACC students for transitions. So if you click on the school that you're looking for, it will give the information for that university rep. Just so then that way, if you want to like meet with them, go over any particular things about the school or get an evaluation of credits done, you can always reach out to that representative because essentially they're here to help ACC students move to their school. So they are always available to help support as you move forward. And plus it's just nice to meet somebody at the university. So we have in-state and then we also have some out-of-state school options as well, just in case if you want somebody to contact. My favorite part of our website as well is if you're looking at like multiple schools, sometimes it's hard to keep track of deadlines, application fees. We have a table to kind of help assist with just the different options that you have and then like where to go for certain things, right? Because websites are confusing. There's a lot, it's hard to search. So we just tried to lay it out for you all here of just application deadlines, the fee, where to start applying for those scholarships for that specific university, tuition and fees, because that's obviously really important to your college journey, making sure that things are affordable and it makes sense for you, their transfer website, and then the application. So you kind of have everything like in this one table. It is just more of like Colorado focused schools. So if you're needing help navigating some of those out-of-state schools, just let us know and we're happy to provide some of these links for you. It's at a point where like, I feel like we're Google gurus. So just let us know if you're getting stuck on certain websites and things. So that's our transfer page. One other resource that I want to show you really quick is called Transferology. You do need an account. It is free. They don't spam you with emails, I promise, because I think I have probably like 5 accounts at this point in time. They might be like, who is this Brittany lady? She has a lot of accounts. Let me get logged in here. So Transferology, I obviously use this quite a bit. So what you can do, and it's pretty user-friendly actually, because I was expecting this to actually be very difficult, is you'll just start your courses. So you'll list, and if you were before, if you were at a different school before ECC, you can also look up their school name. So here, I'll just start with like Arapahoe Community College. I'll do an example for you all. So this is good to have like your degree check or like your unofficial transcript up, and you can plug in all of the classes that you've taken with us. So let's say I'm like looking at a history class, like, well, a history of, let's see, US history since the Civil War, and then I can add it. So here, what I'll do is like, so I'll put in ECC, I'll put in that 3-digit, or I guess 3-letter code, like ENG for English, or not engineering, that's funny. That was kind of close, clicking too fast. So ENG English. So let's say I took English Comp 1 and 2. I can add that into my class options, and then that way it gives an idea of like what I've taken at ECC. So definitely good to have degree check because it will have like those 3 letters in front of your class in order to search for it. So this looks pretty legit. I guess I have English in here twice, and you can always go back and delete items if you want to forecast if something would apply. You can always say that you've taken the class, just so you can see how everything is working. So here I'll search for search for matches. And so when I'm searching for these matches, water. So when I'm searching, you'll see here 100% match, 100% match, 98%. And so what this is showing is those classes that I entered, 100% of them are matching with this school. This is where Hannah and I are super helpful, because it's like, what does all of this mean? Essentially what this means is this specific class has something that is the same at CU Denver. So my introduction to business comes in as a management 1000 class. My English is coming in as English 1020. So it's spitting out that exact class that it would be at that school. And it gives you a lovely thumbs up because that's probably a guaranteed transfer class. So as you go through, you can even search like in and out of state schools. Some schools, as a disclaimer, they may not provide this kind of information to transferology, but there are a lot of different school options that you can look at. And my favorite part about this as well is you can search by distance, you can search by state. If it's kind of like a Yelp review in a way of like, yeah, that was actually not that pricey. Actually, that is extremely pricey. So you can move and apply these filters just in case if you are interested in something particular. So obviously like 4-year, I want to see like some expensive schools. And so then that way it would filter some of these things just in case if you are looking for a school with certain things or like online or on campus. So you can see if there's different options there. If things don't apply, it may say like maybe, like we haven't really looked at this class yet. It may come in, or it may say like does not transfer whatsoever. Find a lot of these are maybe, so that's good. It's like, don't tell me that's my phone again. So it will tell you like, just in case if it is not a match, it will say like not transferable. So then that way you really know that that class would not apply to that major or to that school. So that's transferology. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. Did I totally get rid of it? I might have. I want it to download. Heck. That is the most random thing. Sorry, y'all. I was like, I don't want it to download. So those are just like some different tools that you have. Again, we'll send this out just so then that way you have like reference to some of the things that you can utilize. This one's way better. Look, it's a bigger PowerPoint.
So the next area that we're going to be discussing is the Bridge to Bachelor's degree program. And what that is anyone who is a new first-time college student, they couldn't be transferring in. They would have to be completely first new. So it'd have to be within your first semester at ACC, and you would have to have a minimum of a 2.0 GPA or higher, and you would have to be either in the Associate of Arts or Associate of Science degree track. And what this would entail is that all the colleges that you just saw flash on the screen are partnerships with us at the community colleges, to where it would be guaranteed acceptance if you were to complete the associate's track with us, and then you go straight into their college without it would just be just a straight path going into that school that they'd select, correct?
Yep. And so what Bridge to Bachelor's is doing is it's essentially making that more seamless. You can apply to the schools for free. You will have to opt in. It's through your My ACC portal in the student tab. Essentially what this is doing is it's like, hey, there's transfer degrees out there that can help you get admitted into the school. With like engineering, nursing, business, sometimes there's more like requirements when you apply. So those are the requirements that you want to make sure to meet. It may be above that 2.0 GPA, but if you're going for like psychology, philosophy, chemistry, a lot of those programs will accept that 2.0, and then you'll get admitted into the college. You get communications as well from the college, which is nice just to keep like yourself in the loop. So if it is your first semester and you haven't opted in, please do. Otherwise, if you haven't, that's okay, because those transfer degrees are really securing a lot of your journey. If you're needing help with like the application fees and just getting in contact with the school, just let us know, because in that way we can provide that assistance to you without having to be opted in. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. So we've been talking a lot about Colorado schools, and a lot of states work like this where they make it super easy to transfer in state, but out of state can be different. So if you're transferring within Colorado, just make sure that you're within like an Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, or following your guide for your school. And then that way you can take your credits to the 4-year. It is a package deal, a 60 plus 60. Sometimes it's a little bit more than the 60 at the 4-year, but they really make it like that halfway point when you are transferring. If you're going out of state, it's a little bit different just because we don't have agreements with every state within the United States. So it can be a little bit different. This is where you'd want to work with your school that contact their transfer admissions counselor, just to ensure that, or even transferology, just to ensure that you're taking classes that will apply to that program. It's not as clear because I think the internet would probably explode if we had a lot of guides for every school and every major. So I think my brain would also explode. So with those out of state, work with the schools. And if you're considering different schools, that's okay. Just start to continue, because there are a lot of overlapping classes that may be very similar in nature, just because a lot of those categories are needed for all bachelor's degrees. When you're transferring out of state, essentially what they're looking at is, do they have the same exact class that you're taking at ACC? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Like English composition, they'll likely have that class because that is a common class throughout the United States. But if you're taking Colorado history and you're going to California, they might not have Colorado history. So they're looking at that. Are you taking that exact class that they have? We also have a transfer fair. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but we have out-of-state schools that join there. We do have like tabling visits where they'll come in, and we have St. Augustine in August. That is in Georgia, I believe. And then the key with out-of-state schools, just because they're looking to see if it's the same exact class that they have, save your syllabi. So that first document that you get in the start of your class, save it, because they may need to look at it to review to see like the course description, what you're doing in the class. And then if you can save your assignments and things, just in case, that is a good practice. And I think that's a good practice in general. I feel like I have everything saved from undergrad and my grad program. And plus you never know when you're going to need to reference it. So definitely keep like that Google Drive, that OneDrive, and save all of those documents, especially if you are going out of state, and even in state, honestly, it's just nice to have all that stuff.
So with the transfer application, so when you are starting to go through that process of applying, they're going to be looking at a variety of different things when you're in that process. Mostly it'll be your combined GPA from all the colleges attended after high school. So if you've attended more than one, if you've attended more colleges other than ACC, they're going to look at all your transcripts and all your GPAs from all the colleges to kind of see where you're at overall. And then they're also going to look at academic course mix and rigor, just to see how you've been doing in these classes, whether you've been getting C's or if you get mostly A's. They'll be seeing like how you've been handling most of those, your progress. And then also some colleges might want to do statements and essays, like why you're interested in attending that college, your goals in and after attending college and what you're wanting to do for the future. So some colleges might require those essays. It's more along the lines of more of the competitive programs that require those essays, such as like nursing, engineering. It just depends on the program type, and also depends on the college itself. And then another aspect to consider is extracurricular activities and other considerations such as your internships, work, sports, leadership, volunteer service, like anything you can think of that would be outside of your time of schooling and just your personal life.
I think with applications, it's like, oh, they're only looking at my GPA. No, that's not necessarily it. And part of it too, right? We just got out of COVID, it feels like, but also going back in it. But like, is there a trend where you're going upward, right? We've all had really awful semesters. We withdrew, like it's normal to have like those semesters, but how are you rebounding after that semester? Is it looking better? Are you having an upward trend? So it may not just be focused purely on GPA. There's going to be like a large thing that they're looking at holistically to admit you into the college. And part of it too is like, hey, if I take a calculus 1 class and I get a B, that's going to be different if I take like a math for liberal arts and get an A. So there's a lot of differences between the classes and that rigor. So they look at quite a lot. So scholarships is something to consider. So we're talking about like all of the things that you're doing at ACC to help get prepared, that application process. And once you're an admitted student, you definitely want to start thinking about scholarships. Because college is expensive. Colorado is even expensive. So the key with some of the scholarships is to start early. This is probably your primary one reason to start early is for the scholarship applications. And when you think about scholarships, think about it with like CASPA or FAFSA, just because they open up at similar times within the year. FAFSA is changing, but it is still open super early. With the scholarships, you will want to look at scholarships within that specific institution. When I was a freshman, Brittany, I was applying to like scholarships.com and I was applying to all of these random things that I was trying to find on the internet and I never heard back. The institutional scholarships are specific to that school. So it is minimizing that pool down to a smaller set of people instead of freshman Brittany applying to like people that were across the United States. Silly. Of course, I'm not going to hear back. So with those institutional scholarships, they'll open a year ahead of time. So for example, let's say I want to go to CU Denver for fall of 2024. So basically a year from now. That scholarship application will open up like October, November, December timeframe of this year. So I can start applying to the school super early and then start my scholarship application. So those will open up that October, November, and then the deadlines happen to be around February, March, April. Very similar to the FAFSA, because your FAFSA, the priority deadline is usually March 1st. So you really want to run that FAFSA application the same as your scholarship application. Because sometimes it's very common where you're like, oh, I'm going to go for fall, I'll apply in May. If you apply in May, you have totally missed a whole year of scholarships. So pretty please start early. There are markers within like events and stuff that will help you start early. And really with the FAFSA, it is helpful. You may not need to take out any of those funds, but apply for it because that's the only way that some of these colleges can understand that you need financial aid. You need some sort of aid. So a lot of those scholarship opportunities may require some sort of application, whether it's FAFSA or CASPA, to show them, hey, I need some money. With the financial aid piece, there are financial aid offices within the different schools that we have contact information with. So if you run into any issues with the FAFSA, we're more than happy to help with that and get you to where you need to be. So with financial aid, there is a lot of like components. The sky is the limit. Apply for everything that you can. You don't have to take out like loans, but sometimes that FAFSA or CASPA application can help show that you have need. So the free application for federal student aid can provide grants, which you don't have to pay back, and loans. Again, you don't have to take out the loans. Definitely take those grants if you can, because those are free money. Sorry, I'm talking over your side. I was like, I guess it's the same topic. And then institutional scholarships. So please focus on that specific school just to increase your chances of getting scholarships. The perk of being a transfer student is there are automatic options for some in-state schools. So they'll give you, if you meet like a 3.0 and you're applying to Boulder, they have like a transfer excellence scholarship. Even like I think CU Denver has some of these automatic scholarships where all you have to do is apply, and then they can see if they have enough funding to award that scholarship for you. There are transfer specific scholarships like the Reicher Scholarship. The Reicher Scholarship is a full ride for your last 2 years. You have to get done in a 2-year time frame, and there's like fun little activities that you'll do that will be in like your scholarship applications. If you're a member of Phi Theta Kappa, they have scholarship applications for transfer students, RAM transfer scholarships. So you'll see a lot of your scholarship opportunities as transfer students. They are very robust. So just keep in mind that you are like this very specific population that they want to recruit and give you some money. So there's definitely money that is out there.
So, so kind of like the process of kind of like what we were talking about earlier, this is kind of a simplified version of that. So what you're going to first want to do is you're going to want to research where you're wanting to go to. Like you want to research where it's located, the type of college it's like, if it's in a kind of more rural area, or if it's like inner metropolitan city, or if it's more like a traditional college town. That's where you kind of want to see like where it's at, and then like how much the tuition is and the types of programs they offer. And then definitely make sure to tour the campuses that you're interested in, because I've had students where they literally go to that college for the first time on their first day of school and they never knew what to expect. So definitely if you're able to, either do virtual tours or in-person tours if you can. And there's also, they have a lot of events that they offer to transfer students to kind of get them involved and get them introduced to the community that these students are wanting to get into. So there's a lot of opportunities for that. And then applying, as we said, with the scholarships, please be applying a year ahead. That way you're able to get into that window of the application. So usually applications open up around October, November timeframe. So if you're able to apply, so if you're going to be transferring next fall, so fall 2024 to your next institution, you would want to be applying this fall. So that way you've applied, and then if you're accepted, then you're in their system and you can start applying for those grants and scholarships. And then once you've been applied and once you've been accepted, that's when you would send all your official documentation from ACC, any other prior colleges you've attended, and then any AP, IB scores, or anything that you took at concurrent enrollment with high school. So make sure that if you did concurrent enrollment, you're going through the college credit that you've accepted it from, because some students took college courses through Red Rocks or Aurora or with us. So make sure that you're sending all those official transcripts into your next institution of choice. And then kind of after sending your documentation, it's about kind of like transitioning over from ACC to your next institution of choice. So it would be your transfer orientation to get acclimated into your next college community, setting up your student account through the next college, meeting your academic advisor there, and then also registering for courses at the 4 years.
Part of that year ahead of time, right? This is a lot to do within like a couple weeks or a couple months, just because these things take time. Even just like attending like an orientation, sometimes it's just like hard to find one that works with your schedule. So just starting early will really help, because nobody wants to wait until the last second and then you're like super stressed. Another consideration too is like how registration opens. It's very similar to ACC, where like our spring semester is opening October 30th. So that way, if you start early, then you're hitting that registration time correctly. That way you can find the classes that you want, especially as a junior and senior. You really want like specific classes. So try not to wait just for the purpose of like saving yourself some stress. With the events that we have, just to help you explore, we have a transfer fair that is coming up for fall. It's October 18th. It's in the Summit Room, so right across from Trio. We'll have some presentations and things for certain schools, and then I think we have around 40 people that are attending. Just so then that way you can just get general information, get some swag, talk to who you need to talk to, and just explore a little bit. And we have a fun UFO theme. Aliens are real, I guess, so we're just gonna have some fun with that. So come get some like snacks, we'll have pizza and things, so it will be a fun time.
And some other upcoming events that are happening kind of coincide with our transfer fair event is Colorado's yearly free application days. So what that entails is from October 17th to October 19th, all the Colorado universities and colleges that are participating will waive their application fees. So like if, let's just say, UCCS had a $50 application fee and they're participating, they'll waive that completely. So between the 17th and 19th, you can apply for free without any of those nifty little fees popping up. And then also ACC will be offering free official transcripts to be sent to your next institution of choice, starting from October 16th to October 31st. So within that window, you can send over the transcripts without the fee that we normally goes with it. I think it's usually more like a $5-10.
$3. So
Oh.
you're not saving a ton of money there, but let's say you apply to UCCF, CU Boulder, and CSU Fort Collins. That can save you $150 plus the $3 for transcripts, of course. But that's like a week of groceries, I feel like. So it can save you quite a bit of money to start applying early. And this is your incentive for those that are going for like fall of 2024 to start applying now. So start applying early because these are only really offered in October. We can get like fee kind of application waivers on different times of the year, but this is just one where it's like you really don't have to do a lot for it. So, and then with this, CU Boulder is having like application assistance. It's over by the cafe on the Littleton building. So if you are looking to apply for Boulder, they have a university person coming in to help with those applications. So save that money, please. I think there's a song, a really old song. This is our contact information. You can, if you are in a transfer degree, you can also schedule an appointment with Hannah and I through Navigate, and then we'll loop in your TRIO advisor. So if you have any questions for us, I put mine on here as well. But it's, if you want to get both of us, just email that transfer@arapahoe.edu or go to our page, call us, all of the things. So that is it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute, put anything in the chat, and I'll stop the recording.